my gosh, guys, is that Dream? Wait a second, but I'm Dream. These are the funniest fake Minecraft speedruns of all time. This first speedrun begins with the runner spawning directly next to a pillager outpost. And while there's technically nothing fake about the spawn, the odds of spawning directly next to a pillager outpost are between 1 and 5%, so it is something to look out for. Either way, the run begins with the speedrunner collecting some wood, crafting a few tools, and moving towards the outpost. There's just one slight issue. He doesn't see a single pillager anywhere around the outpost, which is something that's literally impossible, as a pillager outpost will always spawn with pillagers in it. Well, when the speedrunner makes their way up the stairs, they accidentally open their chat, which actually reveals that the speedrunner used some sort of command to spawn in the pillager outpost himself, which not only means his spawn was completely fake, but now it makes sense as to why there's no pillagers. So the runner makes their way to the top, where they go to loot the pillager chest. And on the surface, it may appear as though all the items in this chest are completely normal. However, there's one single item that actually can't spawn in a pillager outpost, which is this singular piece of blackstone. Remember this block for later in the run, as it will become extremely important. So, after looting the rest of the pillager outpost, the runner makes his way to a nearby village. However, if we watch the footage closely, we can clearly see the runner only collects 4 beds, which is far less than the 5 to 7 a normal speedrunner would collect. However, when the runner opens their inventory, they somehow have 8 beds. How did their beds duplicate? I have literally no idea. Well, besides the bed duplication, the rest of the time in the village is fairly normal, as he gathers some hay and kills the iron golem, collecting a bit of iron. However, instead of searching for a lava pool or ruins portal like a normal speedrunner would, this runner decides to head towards this village's water well. And all of a sudden, the runner jumps in, revealing a path all the way to a ruins portal. But hold on, let's rewind the footage and take a closer look. In a real village, the water well always has 4 torches, one on each corner. However, in this village, you can clearly see one of the torches is missing. This was clearly removed by the runner as a way to remember a ruins portal was located under this well. So the runner goes down, enters the ruins portal room, and goes to loot the chest inside. But before he opens the chest, take a very close look at the ruins portal. Got it? Well, the runner opens the chest, and thankfully, all the items inside are completely normal. However, when the runner closes the chest and goes to complete the portal, you'll actually notice that 2 pieces of obsidian have been mysteriously added. Look, just 10 seconds ago before he opened the chest, we can clearly see these 2 blocks were not there. So somehow, when the runner was looting this chest, 2 pieces of obsidian got added to the portal. But how is that possible? Well, if you take an extremely close look into the top corner of the cave, you'll actually notice these strange particles floating in the air. And if you didn't already know, these particles are clearly coming from somebody using an invisibility potion, which means while the runner was innocently looting the chest, somebody else placed the extra blocks on the portal. So with 2 extra pieces of obsidian in the portal, the runner easily completes it, crafts flint and steel, and enters the portal. But when the runner spawns in, he literally spawns in the middle of a lava pool? Is that even possible? Well, without hesitation, the runner exits the portal and starts swimming in the lava. And even though he clearly doesn't have a fire resistance potion, he doesn't take a single bit of damage. I'm so confused, we're just gonna ignore it. So, the runner leaves the lava pool completely unharmed, where they start searching for a nearby bastion. But on the way, the runner comes across a chest sitting in the middle of nowhere. However, this chest does not contain a bunch of overpowered items like you'd probably expect, but it does contain one single block called quote-unquote magic dirt. Well, the runner grabs the magic dirt from the chest, where he travels to a pretty flat area. But when the runner places the piece of magic dirt on the ground, an entire bastion spawns out of thin air. What? I'm not gonna ask any questions. So, the runner enters a bastion he just spawned in with dirt, where he mines gold blocks, collects some ingots, and starts to look for any piglins to trade with. The problem is, after scanning the entire bastion, he doesn't find a single piglin anywhere. So, how is the runner supposed to make trades and get important items for the speedrun? Well, the runner searches for just a bit more until they find one of the strangest things I've ever seen. It's a block with a super small piglin trapped inside. And when he clicks on the block, he's given an entire menu to trade with. This can't be a real feature. Well, the runner places his gold in this trading menu, and after only 30 seconds, he receives 4 stacks of ender pearls from this piglin. Seriously, what is going on? So, after collecting all the pearls that he needs, the runner makes his way to a fortress. But the runner finds something incredibly hilarious in the fortress. Is that a chicken spawner? That's right. Instead of finding a blaze spawner, this speedrunner literally finds a chicken spawner. You have to be kidding. Well, the runner starts killing the chickens from the chicken spawner, but somehow they actually drop blaze rods. And not only that, but some of the other chickens actually drop obsidian for the runner. I'm at a loss for words. So, after he collects 7 blaze rods and 16 pieces of obsidian, a normal speedrunner would then build a portal and head back towards the overworld. But this speedrunner starts to make one of the goofiest looking nether portals I've literally ever seen. Okay, this guy has to be joking. Well, the runner still decides to pull out his flint and steel. There's no way this lights. Oh my gosh, it actually worked. This has to go down as the goofiest nether portal of all time. So, the runner enters this goofy portal and somehow spawns back into the overworld, where they immediately craft Eyes of Ender and start using a popular technique known as triangulation to locate the position of the strongholds. But only about 30 seconds later, the runner comes across an above ground stronghold. And it's literally not even possible for a stronghold to spawn above ground, so I don't even know what I'm looking at. So, the runner enters the above ground strongholds, where they begin their search for the End's portal room. And giving the runner credit, he finds the End portal room pretty quickly, without cheating or any suspicious activity. But this End portal is nothing close to being normal. What? What is it with this speedrunner and goofy portals? Well, he still decides to place his eyes in this strange looking portal, and somehow it actually lights. And when the runner jumps in, he actually spawns into the End. Thankfully, when he spawns in, things seem to be back to normal. He spawns on an obsidian platform, all the pillars still have End crystals on them, and the dragon is still at full health. Well, the runner starts off by breaking all the crystals, where they then decide to make a crafting table. Now, do you remember at the very beginning of the run when the speedrunner got this piece of blackstone from the pillager outpost? Well, the runner uses that very piece of blackstone as the final item in crafting the Dark Star Mace, which is so powerful that it literally one-shots the Ender Dragon.
This next speedrun begins, and based on his spawn, everything looks pretty legit. The speedrunner is facing completely straight, he doesn't have any strange items in his inventory, and he's also in survival mode with 0 XP. But there's actually something completely fake about this spawn you probably missed. In a real Minecraft speedrun, when you spawn in, it takes multiple seconds for every chunk to load in, like this. However, in this speedrun, the millisecond the runner is spawned into his world, hundreds of chunks are already completely loaded in. The only possible explanation for this is that there was a cut in his recording, which means his world generation was completely fake, and the runner is likely using a set seed, which will make more sense very soon. So, the speedrun begins with the runner collecting some stone, crafting a couple of tools, and making their way to a nearby village. And not only does the speedrunner come across one blacksmith, he finds 2, 3, 4, and 5 blacksmiths in a single village. And while technically this isn't impossible, After literally asking ChatGPT, the probability of 5 blacksmiths spawning in a single village is over 1 in 3 million. However, for now, let's give the speedrunner the benefit of the doubt as he collects a few beds, kills the iron golem, and loots a few chests. All completely normal. But when the speedrunner is about to loot this chest, he receives a phone call.
Hello?
You have to be kidding me. So, the runner answers the phone mid-speedrun, but I think he forgot that his mic was unmuted, because on the phone, we can clearly hear his friend reveal he's been cheating this entire speedrun. Take a listen.
The seed works, right? I give you the best seed ever. It's so overpowered, man.
If you haven't caught on, his friend just proved the runner has been using a set seed the entire time, which is not only clearly not allowed in a speedrun, but reveals why the runner edited his world generation earlier in the run. So, after revealing the speedrunner is literally on a set seed, it's no surprise that he easily knows the location of a ruins portal. But when the speedrunner goes to loot this ruins portal chest, he finds some pretty interesting items. Some golden boots, a block of obsidian, and glowstone? Not only is it impossible for glowstone to spawn in a ruins portal chest, but how could that even be helpful in this speedrun? Well, the runner grabs the glowstone from the chest. You have to be kidding me. There's no way he's actually trying to build an aether portal. Everyone knows it's not real. Well, the runner still decides to pull out a water bucket from his inventory and what? Did he just craft an aether portal in vanilla Minecraft? What am I looking at? Well, the runner enters the aether portal and actually spawns in the aether. I'm not even going to question it. So, the runner spawns into the aether, and after the speedrunner gathers some more wood and does some exploring, he finds this strange chest in the middle of nowhere. And while none of the items here seem to be overpowered, one item is actually extremely important for the speedrun, which is this singular saddle. Because the runner grabs the saddle, equips it, and is that a majestic cow? Well, the runner pulls out the saddle he just got from this random chest, places it on this majestic cow, and starts flying around the aether. What is even happening anymore? Well, after flying around for just a couple seconds, the runner comes across a fully built nether portal on a random cloud. This is getting out of control. So, after flying on a literal cow to a nether portal, the runner finally enters the nether, and as the runner starts searching in the nether, he actually manages to locate a fortress pretty quickly. The only problem is, it's on the complete opposite side of this lava pool. And without enough blocks in his inventory, how is the runner supposed to travel to the fortress? Well, the runner turns around and finds a random chest on the ground, even though just seconds earlier, we clearly saw this chest wasn't here at all. Well, when the speedrunner opens the chest, he finds 5 wood boats. Please don't tell me he's gonna start dream boat clutching in a speedrun. Oh my gosh, that was actually insane. So, after pulling off the craziest stunt in speedrunning history, the runner enters the nether fortress. And in the process of looking for the blaze spawner, the runner actually comes across a fortress chest, where a normal speedrunner would likely find some pretty decent loot, including iron and gold ingots. But when the runner tries to open it, it turns into a monster that literally starts attacking the speedrunner. What is even happening anymore? Well, after almost dying to a chest monster, the runner finally locates the blaze spawner room. The only problem is, if you look closely, you'll actually notice the blaze spawner has completely vanished. But even though there is clearly no blaze spawner anywhere, blazes actually start to spawn out of thin air. And I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea how the speedrunner is doing this. So, after blazes spawn out of thin air, the runner starts to fight one and collects a few blaze rods. And while nearly all of the blazes he fights drop completely normal blaze rods, there's one blaze that drops something incredibly strange, which is when this blaze actually drops a map for the speedrunner. While this is not only impossible to drop from a blaze, remember this map for later in the speedrun. So, after collecting the 7 blaze rods that the speedrunner needs, he begins his search for a nearby bastion. And on the surface, it would appear as though he gets incredibly lucky as he's able to locate the bastion extremely quickly. However, let's rewind the footage and take a closer look at what really happened. If you pay very close attention, you'll actually notice that the speedrunner has been following these blue flames all the way to the bastion. The problem is, blue fire can only spawn naturally on one single block, soul sand. However, if we play the footage, it's very clear that this blue fire is not on soul sand. So not only were these clearly placed by the speedrunner as a way to direct him straight to the bastion, but also I have no idea how blue fire is spawning on netherrack blocks. So after locating the bastion, the runner enters it, collects some gold blocks, and starts to trade with a group of nearby piglins. And thankfully, most of the trades the runner gets look to be pretty normal, as the runner collects some ender pearls, obsidian, and even some netherite ingots. But there's one singular trade where the runner gets a very strange item, which is this bronze key. Not only is it obvious this isn't a real Minecraft item, remember this specific bronze key for later in the run. So after collecting all the items that he needs, you'd expect the speedrunner to use the obsidian in his inventory to craft a portal and head to the overworld. But instead, the runner places down a crafting table and crafts an obsidian chest plate. Is that even a real item? Well, not only does he craft an obsidian chest plate, he crafts an entire set of obsidian armor. The only problem is, he now has 0 blocks of obsidian to build another portal. So how is he supposed to head back to the overworld? Well, the runner decides to drink a potion of fire resistance where they travel to a nearby lava pool. And without any hesitation, the runner jumps straight into the lava. And after only a few seconds, when the runner returns to the surface, he is now somehow in the overworld. What did I just watch? So, after the runner somehow teleported to the overworld without a portal, the runner now needs to locate a stronghold. But instead of using the process of triangulation like a real speedrunner would, the runner grabs the map he got from a blaze earlier in the run, and when he opens it, sees a large X that is obviously the location of a stronghold. So, using his map, the runner travels to the red X and of course locates the stronghold, where he quickly finds the end portal room, finishes the portal, and spawns into the end where things thankfully appear pretty normal, as the ender dragon has full health and the runner spawns on an obsidian platform like normal. But as the speedrunner makes his way to the surface, he finds an interesting looking chest on the ground, and when the speedrunner tries to open the chest, it says that it can't be unlocked without a bronze key. Well, do you remember when earlier in the speedrun, the runner got this key from a piglin trade? Well, he pulls it out, opens the chest, and finds some of the most overpowered items I've ever seen. Full netherite gear, multiple stacks of god apples, and a lightning sword. Well, the runner equips the lightning sword, which starts summoning lightning out of thin air. So, when the dragon perches, it's pretty obvious that the runner absolutely destroys it. This next speedrun begins, and right away, there's something incredibly fake about it. No, it's not his spawn, as we can clearly see the runner is facing straight. And it also isn't his game mode, as it's in survival with 0 XP. But let's take a very close look at this tree, where we can clearly see multiple bees flying around it. Now, bees were introduced into Minecraft in one specific version, 1.15. The problem is, if we rewind the footage, we can actually see the runner is playing in Minecraft 1.12. This actually proves his world generation was completely fake, as it's literally impossible for a bee to spawn in 1.12. This will make more sense very soon. So the run begins with the runner collecting some wood, crafting a couple tools, and locating a nearby village. And to my surprise, everything about this village is completely perfect. All the chesty loots contain completely normal items, the iron golem drops a normal amount of ingots, and the runner collects beds and mines some hay. However,
However, this village almost seems too perfect, as if the runner is trying to pretend there's nothing fake about the run to trick us. Well, when the runner leaves the village, he reveals something absolutely hilarious. Because if you pause at this frame, you can clearly see how unnatural this village looks. And it's pretty obvious the speedrunner pasted it in himself off camera, which also explains why he had to fake his world generation. So the run continues with the speedrunner leaving the village and searching for a ruined portal, where he actually manages to locate one fairly quickly, where he opens the chest, loots it, and starts to complete the nether portal, all completely legit. But there's actually one small detail about this ruins portal that's completely fake, because in Minecraft, there's actually 12 different types of ruined portals that can spawn, with this ruins portal being known as portal_3. Well, of the 12 ruins portals, there's actually only 2 that spawn without a gold block, one of them being portal_3. The problem is, if we look at the footage, we can clearly see the runner finds a gold block at this ruins portal. The only possible explanation for this is the runner placed this himself off camera, which likely reveals why he edited his world generation earlier in the run. So the run continues with him completing the portal, lighting it, and spawning into the nether. And to the normal person, his spawn may seem pretty normal, as he doesn't spawn in front of any overpowered structures. However, if you look into the left corner of the screen, you'll actually notice he doesn't get the achievement for entering the nether, which reveals the runner has already traveled to the nether before recording, which will make more sense very soon. So the runner spawns in, where he immediately begins to search for a bastion. But on his way, the runner comes across this strange group of soul sand on the ground. To start, it spawns in a very suspicious pattern in a perfect 3x3 square. And secondly, it isn't even possible for soul sand to spawn above Y34 in this biome. Well, the runner decides to break the soul sand, which reveals a group of stairs. And when the runner travels down, he locates a door that goes straight into the bastion. I think everyone knows this is fake. So the runner enters the bastion, where he collects a bit of extra gold and starts to trade with a group of piglins. But this is when the speedrunner actually gets extremely unlucky, because after throwing a huge stack of gold at the piglins, literally none of them want to trade with him. And karma must have caught up to the speedrunner, because I have no idea how that's possible. Well, after literally getting denied from trading with piglins, the runner makes his way to this nearby chest. But let me play the clip and let me know if you see what's wrong with it. Did you catch that? At this part of the footage, there's a very subtle cut in the recording, as the textures in the lava actually switch. And when the runner goes to the chest, he of course finds all 16 ender pearls that he needs. If you couldn't tell, it's pretty obvious the runner cut his recording to fill this chest with ender pearls off camera. So the runner collects his pearls before starting to search for a nearby fortress. But on his way, the runner finds this strange chest sitting in the middle of nowhere. And inside, he finds the magic pearl? Is this a new feature? Well, the runner takes the magic pearl from the chest, where he throws it in a completely random direction. And when it lands, he spawns directly into a fortress. I don't even want to try to explain how this worked. So the runner enters the fortress, where they begin their search for the blaze spawner room. But on his way, the runner comes across this fortress chest that contains some pretty standard items. Gold ingots, iron ingots, the jackhammer. Wait, what? Those blazes just got destroyed. So, after collecting 7 blaze rods with the jackhammer, a normal speedrunner would build another portal and head back towards the overworld. The problem is, the runner did not collect any obsidian from the bastion earlier in the run, so how are they supposed to build a portal and make their way back towards the overworld? Well, the runner pulls out some leftover wood from their inventory, where they start crafting fences and actually start making the shape of a nether portal. Okay, there's no way this is gonna work, work. Oh my gosh, it actually worked. The runner just built a nether portal out of fences. This has simply gone too far. So the runner lights the portal, enters it, where they spawn back into the overworld. And his spawn back into the overworld appears to be pretty normal. As he's still in survival mode, he has the exact same items he had in the nether, and he doesn't spawn directly into a stronghold like we've seen with other runs. But do you notice how it's actually daytime when the runner spawns in? In Minecraft, it will turn from day to night after 10 minutes has elapsed. The problem is, if we look at the speedrunner's file, we can clearly see his speedrun is at 14 minutes, which means it should be night for him, but it's actually day, which proves his spawn into the overworld is actually fake. So when the runner goes to this nearby tree and breaks it, it's no surprise he finds a ladder going all the way to the stronghold. This is out of control. So the runner enters the stronghold, where they begin their search for the end portal room. But as they're looking through the stronghold, did you catch that? At this exact frame, if you look into the left corner of the screen, you can see the faintest message of a player changing his game mode to survival, which actually proves there was a cut in the recording. So when he enters the end portal room and has the exact amount of eyes to complete it, it's pretty obvious the runner cut the footage so they could go off camera and place extra eyes in the portal. So the runner enters the portal room, lights it, and spawns into the end. But when the runner spawns in, where's the surface? He literally spawns in a floating end dimension. And when the runner tries to bridge over the center, he literally gets killed by the dragon. I guess that's what he deserves for cheating so terribly. This next speedrun begins with the runner spawning directly next to a village, where he's in survival mode with 0 XP, his loading screen looked to be pretty normal, and he doesn't have any overpowered items in his inventory. However, you probably didn't even notice it, but his spawn is completely fake. In a real Minecraft speedrun, when you spawn in, you'll always be facing straight. However, in this speedrun, we can actually see the runner's crosshair facing down to the left. This means his world generation and spawn are two different clips edited together, which will make more sense very soon. So, the run continues with the speedrunner making his way to a nearby village. We're giving him credit, he does some fairly normal things, such as collecting beds, looting a few chests, and even gathering hay. But things get weird when he goes up to this village's iron golem, because instead of starting to attack it to collect its iron, he mounts onto the golem and starts riding it all the way around the village. I'm so confused. So, after having some fun on the golem, he eventually kills it and makes his way to a nearby ruins portal. Now, I'm just gonna play this part of the footage and let me know if you caught what just happened. Did you see it? When the runner first locates the ruins portal, it's very clear there's only one chest. However, after the runner loots the first one, when he turns to the right, another chest has magically appeared, even though we clearly saw this exact same area had 0 chests just a few seconds ago. But how is that possible? Well, let's rewind the footage and take a closer look at this zombie. To start, how is this zombie even alive? It's daytime, and everyone knows zombies burn from the sun. And secondly, at this exact frame, we can actually see this zombie holding a chest. If you haven't caught on, this zombie is actually another player using a morph mod, and he's the one who placed this second chest. So, the runner loots the second chest, where to nobody's surprise, they find the exact amount of obsidian they need to complete the portal. But after the runner completes the portal, when he goes to light it, something incredibly strange happens. When he places his flint and steel, only half the portal lights. I'm not sure if this is a glitch, but what am I looking at? Well, the runner still decides to enter this cursed looking portal, and somehow it actually teleports him into the nether. That's absolutely insane. So, the runner enters the nether, and thankfully, things look pretty normal, as the runner starts running throughout the nether in hopes of locating either a bastion or a fortress. But instead of finding a normal fortress, they locate a gold fortress? Is this a new update? Well, the runner goes inside the gold fortress, but instead of finding normal blazes, they literally find gold blazes. And when the runner goes to kill some of the blazes, instead of dropping blaze rods, they instead drop gold ingots. You have to be kidding me. So, after wasting a ton of time in the gold fortress, the runner makes his way to a different fortress where he luckily finds some pretty normal blazes who actually drop blaze rods. Where, after collecting 7 rods, the runner makes his way to a nearby bastion. But the gold he got from the gold blazes must be glitched because after he throws them at the piglins, literally none of them want to trade with it. This run is so confusing. So, with faulty gold, the runner is left with no choice but to mine gold blocks in the bastion. The only problem is, he doesn't have an iron pickaxe in his inventory, so how is he supposed to mine the gold blocks? Well, as the runner is casually running throughout the bastion, we see that he randomly acquires an iron pickaxe in his inventory, even though we clearly saw he didn't craft it anywhere in the speedrun. Well, let's rewind the footage to just a few frames earlier, where if you look closely, you can actually see another player holding an iron pickaxe in their hands. And when the runner goes by, you can actually see this iron pickaxe being dropped from the sky. This is clearly the same player who was pretending to be a zombie earlier, helping the speedrunner gain an advantage. So, with an iron pickaxe, the runner mines some gold blocks, crafts some normal ingots, and starts to trade with some nearby piglins. And his trades seem to be going fairly well until the runner finds a pig? Okay, first off, it's not even possible for a pig to spawn naturally in the nether. And secondly, this pig must be magical because he actually gives the runner an entire stack of ender pearls. Now, I was almost fooled into thinking this pig was actually magical until I remembered this runner's friend morphed into a zombie earlier in the run, and this magical pig is likely the same friend again using a morph mod. So, after collecting 16 pearls from the magical pig, the runner needs to head back towards the overworlds. However, the runner only has 2 pieces of obsidian in their inventory, so how are they supposed to craft a nether portal? Well, the runner leaves the bastion, where they immediately head towards this wall. But after the runner turns around, he magically finds a fully built nether portal. But hold on, let's rewind the footage because this is literally impossible. If you look closely to before the runner heads towards this wall, you can actually see the slightest portion of an arm holding obsidian, which is clearly the same arm of this player's friend who we've seen help the runner throughout the speedrun. So, the runner enters the fully built nether portal and spawns back into the overworld. But instead of using the process of triangulation like a normal speedrunner would, he seems to have a slightly different idea, because he starts running in a very specific direction where he reaches the stronghold house. This can't be a real feature. Well, the runner enters the stronghold house where he finds literally everything he needs for the stronghold. Extra eyes of ender, a sword to fight off silverfish, and even extra end portal frames. But the runner also finds this singular pressure plate, and when he steps on it, he's teleported straight into the strongholds. So, the runner teleports to the strongholds, where a normal speedrunner would then search for the end portal room. But brace yourself, because this is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. The runner literally finds his friend wearing a skin with an arrow on it that directs the runner all the way to the end portal room. They are even hiding their cheating anymore. So, the runner enters the end portal room where they light the portal and spawn into the end. But right off the bat, there's something incredibly suspicious about his spawn. To start, he doesn't even get an achievement, which reveals he's already been in the end. And secondly, the ender dragon is actually missing a sliver of health, even though the runner clearly hasn't touched it. Well, when the runner breaks out, what am I looking at? This is the most overpowered end I've literally ever seen. Not to mention, the runner finds a random chest on the ground that literally contains every single overpowered item in Minecraft history. And with this super overpowered loot, the runner quickly defeats the ender dragon. This next speedrun begins with the runner spawning inside a desert temple. And while technically I guess this isn't impossible, after literally asking ChatGPT, this has less than a 0.01% chance of happening. Either way, the speedrun begins with the runner collecting some wood nearby, crafting himself a couple of tools, and entering the desert pyramid. But as the runner is digging down, did you catch that? At this part of the footage, there's a very subtle cut where two items in the runner's inventory switch places. So, when the runner finds obsidian in the very first pyramid chest, an item that can't naturally spawn there, it's pretty obvious the runner cut the footage so he could go off camera and place it in this chest. So, after collecting some suspicious loot from the first chest, the other three chests luckily seem fairly normal. However, instead of leaving the pyramid after looting his fourth chest, he instead decides to start digging in a random tunnel, where he then finds a second desert pyramid. But hold on, let's rewind the footage to earlier in the run, where we can clearly see there's only one desert pyramid in this entire area. So I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea how that just happened. So, the runner enters the second desert pyramid where he starts looting the chests inside. And thankfully, the first three chests that he loots contain completely normal stuff. And in the fourth chest, on the surface, it also appears as though it's completely normal. However, it's actually impossible for a redstone torch to spawn here. So not only is this chest completely fake, but remember this redstone torch for later in the run. So, after looting two desert pyramids, the runner makes his way out towards a nearby village. And at a first glance, this village thankfully looks to be pretty normal. He loots a few chests, kills the iron golem, and collects a couple of beds, all very normal things in a speedrun. However, the runner then comes across a very strange looking village house, which looks to be slightly different than the rest of the village. If you couldn't tell, this is actually a village house from a taiga, when the runner is clearly in a plains biome village, which means the runner pasted this structure himself off camera. So, the runner enters this misplaced house, and to nobody's surprise, finds some of the strangest items I've ever seen. 47 pieces of bread, some cherry doors, a full set of leather armor, a pufferfish thrower. Wait, what? That is the goofiest weapon I've ever seen. So, after destroying an entire village with a pufferfish thrower, a normal speedrunner would then start searching for a ruins portal to make their way into the nether. But during his search, the runner comes across this strange pattern on this mountain wall, where if you look very closely, you'll actually notice it makes out the shape of an arrow that's clearly pointing at this block. Well, the runner pulls out the redstone torch he got from earlier in the run, and when he places it on this very block, a secret tunnel is revealed with a ladder going all the way down to a ruins portal. What is it with this guy in tunnels? Well, the runner enters the ruins portal room, where he of course has the exact amount of obsidian he needs to complete the portal, which now reveals why there was an obsidian in the chest earlier in the run. So the runner completes the ruined portal, but he's made one critical mistake. Throughout the entire speedrun, he didn't collect a single piece of flint. So how is he supposed to light the portal and head into the nether? Well, out of nowhere, the portal actually lights, even though we clearly saw the speedrunner didn't touch it at all. Well, let's actually take a closer look at this part of the footage. If you look into the corner of the screen, take a closer look at this wall, where if you look carefully, you can actually see there's another player wearing a skin he thinks blends in with the wall. And just a few seconds later, we can see this very player holding a flint and steel in their hands. These guys aren't fooling anyone. So, the runner goes towards the portal, enters it, and prepares to spawn into the nether. But when they spawn in, they literally spawn in mid-air. Wait, the portal is literally floating. There's not a single piece of obsidian to be found. But that's not all, because the runner jumps from this floating portal directly into a bastion. I'm just not gonna question it. So, the runner enters the bastion, where they locate an iron pickaxe, mine some gold, and start to trade with a group of piglins. However, you notice that even though the runner doesn't have any gold armor on, the piglins still don't attack back when he breaks the gold blocks. Well, this is only possible if the runner is playing in peaceful mode, a game mode that's clearly not allowed during a competitive speedrun. Well, when the runner goes to change his render distance, he accidentally reveals thinks he's been playing in peaceful mode this entire speedrun. This cheating has gone too far. So, the runner collects his gold blocks, throws them at the piglins, where they start to trade with the speedrunner. And at a first glance, the runner gets some pretty standard items, including ender pearls, obsidian, and even some iron nuggets. But the runner also gets one single item that's incredibly fake. A blaze sword? Is this a new Minecraft feature? This will make more sense very soon. So, the runner continues to trade with piglins, where he eventually collects 16 ender pearls and 12 obsidian, where they then make their way towards a nearby fortress. However, when they enter the fortress, you'll notice they seem to locate the blaze spawner suspiciously quickly. Well, if you look extremely closely, you'll actually notice this strange path of string on the floor. And if you play the footage, the runner followed this string all the way to the blaze spawner room. The problem is, it's pretty obvious string doesn't spawn naturally in a fortress. So, the runner locates the blaze spawner room, and this is when things get crazy. Do you remember when the runner got a blaze sword from this piglin trade? Well, the runner equips it and starts one-shotting every single blaze. That thing is insane. So, with this extremely overpowered blaze sword, the runner pretty quickly collects 7 blaze rods, where they build another portal, light it, and spawn into the overworld, where the runner starts using triangulation, a very popular method of locating the strongholds. But during his search, the runner makes a pit stop at these oak trees, where he starts to mine some of the leaves, likely to collect a couple of apples to help with his hunger. However, instead of normal apples dropping from this tree, out drops a golden apple, which first off, isn't even possible to spawn naturally from a tree, and secondly, I have no idea how the runner just did that. So, with a couple of extra golden apples to help with the ender dragon later, the runner finally locates the stronghold, where he digs down and enters into it. But at this part of the footage, if you look closely into the bottom corner of the screen, you can actually see the faintest message of a player changing their game mode to survival. And suddenly, right after this message, the runner seems to know the exact path to the end portal room. If you couldn't tell, this message clearly revealed there was a cut in the recording where the runner went off camera in spectator mode to locate the end portal room. So, the runner enters the end portal room, but there's just one slight problem. The runner notices he only has 6 eyes of ender after wasting too many looking for the stronghold earlier in the run. And because the end portal requires 12 to be completed, how is the runner supposed to enter into the end? Well, the runner has the strategy of placing an eye of ender in every other frame. And when he places the last eye, what? He creates the most cursed end portal I've ever seen. And somehow, when the runner jumps in, he's actually teleported straight into the end. I'm at a loss for words. So, the runner enters the end, where thankfully, things look normal. He spawns on an obsidian platform, he's still in survival mode, and the dragon is still at full health. However, when the runner travels to the surface, every single end pillar is at ground level, which makes it incredibly easy for the runner to break the crystals. And on top of this, instead of finding a crystal at the last pillar, he instead finds a chest with an enchanted bow and arrows that could last a lifetime. And with this loot, the runner makes pretty quick work of the dragon. This next speedrun begins, and you have to be kidding me. We can clearly see the runner already has a bunch of items in their inventory before the run even started. Is this guy seriously this bad at cheating? Well, giving the runner the benefit of the doubt, the rest of his spawn is fairly normal, as the runner collects some wood, gathers some stone, and crafts a few extra tools. But let's watch closely to what happens when the runner mines this tree. I'll play the clip.
Oh my gosh, it's the magical tree chest.
You have to be kidding me. Well, the runner moves towards this magical tree chest, and inside is some of the best gear for a Minecraft speedrun. An iron pickaxe, fire resistance, some obsidian, even flint and steel. This is out of control. So, after looting the magical tree chest, the runner makes his way to a nearby village. Now, you may not have caught it at a first glance, but this is one of the goofiest villages I've ever seen. Because if you look closely, you'll actually notice every single house in this village is the exact same. Which first off, I'm not even sure that's possible. And secondly, what purpose does that serve?
So, after looting 10 of the exact same village house, the runner kills the iron golem and begins to search for a nearby ruined portal. But on his way, the runner comes across the magician's house? This can't be a real Minecraft structure. Well, the runner enters the magician's house and inside finds an actual magician who starts typing in chat asking if the runner wants to see a magic trick. I'm so confused. Well, the runner responds telling the magician he would love to see the trick, where the magician then asks the runner for his flint and steel to perform the trick. But after the runner gives him the item, the magician types in chat, "You just got scammed," and leaves the house through a secret tunnel. And the speedrunner is not happy at all.
Are you kidding me? That's the dumbest trick I've ever seen.
What is going on in this speedrun? So, after getting his flint and steel taken by a random Minecraft magician, the runner is left with no way to light his nether portal at the lava pool. Well, that's until the runner seemingly opens his inventory and flint and steel magically appears. But if you play the footage frame by frame, you can clearly see there was a cut in the recording where the runner obviously got the flint and steel off camera. So, with his flint and steel equipped, the runner lights his nether portal and spawns into the nether, where thankfully, for the first time all speedrun, things seem pretty normal. The runner is still in survival mode, he doesn't have any weird items in his inventory, and he makes his way to a nearby fortress. But this is when things just get even more cursed, because as the runner is searching throughout the fortress for a blaze spawner, he comes face to face with a wither skeleton. The only problem is, this wither skeleton looks slightly different than normal, and this strange looking skeleton literally drops 64 blaze spawner eggs for the runner to use. And I'm pretty sure anyone with a brain knows this quote unquote wither skeleton is just another player with a wither skeleton skin. So, with 64 spawner eggs, the runner starts spawning in blazes and quickly collects blaze rods. But these blaze rods look slightly different than normal. Are those pink blaze rods? I don't even know what to say. So, after defeating a few more blazes, he collects 7 pink blaze rods, where a normal runner would then start searching for a bastion. But on his way, the runner literally comes across a creeper in the nether. Okay, first off, how did a creeper spawn in the nether? That's literally impossible. And secondly, when the runner goes to kill this creeper, it literally drops every overpowered item in Minecraft history. I don't even know what to say. So, with some pretty overpowered loot, the runner finally locates a bastion, where, after mining some gold and crafting some ingots, he starts to trade with piglins. And on the surface, it would appear as though the runner gets insanely lucky, collecting 16 ender pearls almost immediately. However, if you actually pay attention to what's happening, you can clearly see these pearls aren't coming from the piglins, but coming from the sky. And just a few seconds later, when the runner looks up for just a brief second, we can literally see another player above him holding ender pearls. This cheating is out of control. So, with 16 ender pearls and 7 pink blaze rods, I guess a normal speedrunner would build a portal and head back to the overworld. The only issue is, the runner does not have enough obsidian in their inventory to do this, and he literally starts raging at his friend.
Did you forget what you were doing, you noob?
This is actually hilarious. Well, I guess his friend must have gotten the message, because suddenly, pieces of obsidian start falling from the sky right into the runner's inventory. So, the runner builds another portal, lights it, and spawns back into the overworld. But tell me why the runner literally spawns in above the clouds. Well, luckily for the speedrunner, he happens to have a spare water bucket in his inventory, so he immediately pulls it out and goes to attempt a water bucket clutch. But unfortunately, the runner doesn't succeed and literally dies, and he is not happy.
Bro!
Well, the runner respawns where just a few seconds later, there's an obvious cut and the runner now has all of his items back. Not to mention, he immediately digs straight down, leading him straight into a stronghold. strongholds. So, the runner enters the strongholds, where they almost immediately locate the end portal room. But, do you remember when the runner got pink blaze rods earlier in the run? Well, when the runner goes to craft his eyes of Ender, they're literally pink. And when he lights the end portal, this just looks cursed.
Guys, I think there's a new update. The portal turns pink in Minecraft.
What is this guy even talking about? So, the runner lights the portal, but when he jumps in, what am I looking at? This is the funniest looking end I've ever seen. And why is the Ender Dragon literally pink? Well, the runner pretty quickly destroys the crystals, where he moves towards the Ender Dragon. But unfortunately, this pink Ender Dragon actually destroys the speedrunner, and the video just cuts off there. This next speedrun begins with the runner spawning directly next to a village, where right away, there's already something completely fake about the speedrun. Because if you take a very close look into the bottom corner of the screen, you can see the faintest message of a player changing his game mode to survival. This actually reveals that this speedrunner has already been on the world, which will make more sense very soon. So, the speedrun continues with the runner mining some wood, crafting a few tools, and entering the nearby village. However, take a very close look at this village's iron golem. If you've been paying attention, you've likely noticed that this iron golem has stayed still the entire speedrun. And when the runner goes to attack it, even though it's clearly angry, it doesn't move a single inch. This iron golem being completely frozen in place is something that's only possible if spawned in using a command, which means the runner likely spawned this golem in before recording, which explains why he changed his game mode back to survival at the start of the run. So, after destroying the iron golem, the run continues with the runner collecting some beds and gathering some hay, where a normal speedrunner would then leave the village and start their search for either a lava pool or a ruined portal. However, this speedrunner has a completely different idea and literally starts building up towards the sky. What is this guy doing? Well, after building up way into the clouds, the runner does something absolutely mind-blowing as they pull out a pickaxe from their inventory and start mining in the air, and somehow they break through the sky, revealing a cave with a full ruins portal inside. Hold on, we have to replay that. Yes, this guy just broke through the sky into a completely different world. I am so confused right now, I don't even know what to say. So, the runner enters the ruins portal room in the sky and goes to loot the ruined portal chest. However, the runner finds some pretty suspicious items in this chest, including a diamond sword, a golden apple, and even a potion of fire resistance, which clearly means the runner placed these items here before recording. However, that is not the only fake thing about this part of the speedrun, because when the runner goes to light the nether portal, it turns green? That doesn't look normal. Well, it doesn't even stop there, because when the runner enters the nether, all of the colors look absolutely crazy. There's something very cursed about this nether portal. Thankfully, after a while, the colors return back to normal, where the runner starts to search for a nearby bastion. But as the speedrunner is casually running throughout the nether, he suddenly falls through the ground, landing directly into a bastion. Hold on, let's rewind the footage and watch that back. Are you seeing this? The runner just phased through the floor. I don't even know what to say. So, the runner enters the bastion, where they have one slight issue. The runner doesn't have a single iron pickaxe anywhere in their inventory. And without an iron pickaxe, they can't collect any gold, so how are they supposed to trade with piglins? Well, the runner pulls out his diamond sword he got from the ruined portal chest and actually starts mining gold blocks, which, for those of you who don't know, is literally impossible, as it's not even possible to mine blocks with any type of sword. So I literally have no idea how the runner just did that. So, after collecting gold with a literal diamond sword, he crafts a couple of ingots and starts to trade with the piglins. But these are some of the worst piglins I've ever seen, because they start giving the speedrunners saplings, cobblestone, and even and dirt, which are all 3 items that can't even be traded with from a piglin. Well, the runner seems to be annoyed at these absolutely terrible trades, so he starts searching throughout the bastion until he finds this strange lever that has a sign above it saying the OP lever. And this lever must actually work, because after the runner flips it, when he goes back to the very same piglins who gave him terrible items, they literally start giving the speedrunner Minecraft's most overpowered items. Ender pearls, god apples, even diamond armor. I don't know what's happening. So, after the runner collects 2 stacks of ender pearls and 12 obsidian from these super overpowered piglins, the runner makes his way to a nearby fortress, where he not only finds 1, but 2, 3, and 4 blaze spawner rooms in one single fortress, which is literally double the max amount of blaze spawners that could spawn in a fortress. But my question is, even though this is clearly fake, what's the point of having 4 blaze spawners in one single fortress? Well, these 4 spawners allow the runner to get an insane amount of blaze rods, which will become very clear later in the run. So, after collecting far more blaze rods than any normal speedrunner would need, the runner builds a nether portal and heads back towards the overworld, where after crafting his eyes of ender, the speedrunner pretends that he's using triangulation. But almost everyone can tell that this runner is literally just throwing eyes in random directions. But somehow, despite this terrible attempt at triangulation, the runner seems to know the exact location of the strongholds. Well, let's actually rewind the footage and see what really happened. Because if you look extremely closely at this speedrunner's hotbar, at this part of the footage, you can actually see 2 items swap places, which reveals there was a cut in the recording. And in the very next frame after this obvious cut, you can actually see the faintest message of a player using a /locate command. And it's pretty obvious this command is how he found the stronghold, not this terrible attempt at triangulation. So the runner digs down, enters the stronghold, and starts searching for the end portal room. And giving him credit, he actually locates the end portal room pretty quickly. However, when the runner goes to look at the portal, what? This is literally the world's biggest end portal. Well, do you remember when the speedrunner collected an insane amount of blaze rods earlier in the run? Well, it's pretty obvious he did that so he could get a bunch of eyes of ender, enough to complete this huge end portal. So the runner lights this giant portal, and somehow it actually works, so the runner spawns into the end. And to his credit, his spawn does look pretty normal. As he's still in survival mode, he doesn't get any strange potion effects, and the dragon is still at full health. However, when he goes to the surface, he literally can't find the ender dragon, and the portal has already been filled, even though we can clearly see the dragon still has health. Well, even though it shows the dragon still has full health, the runner simply jumps in the portal and finishes the speedrun. Click on screen to watch even more hilariously fake Minecraft speedruns.